I'm here to introduce a fabulous new game. It's called banking. Everyone's doing it. All you need to play it with are one of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these.
Like many in the 1980s, Nick Leeson wanted to be rich and successful. But Nick Leeson was also a very strange man. He had an extraordinary ability to manipulate and deceive those around him. This is his story. It is also the story of those he deceived. They willingly entered into a dream he wove, lured by the prospect of vast sums of money, and together they lost £830 million. In 1986, Mrs. Thatcher deregulated the City of London. The old division between banks and stockbrokers was removed. The gentlemanly image of the banker was replaced by that of the trader. Nick Leeson was working as a clerk for the giant American bank, Morgan Stanley. On the surface, he appeared just like everyone else in this new world. A boy from the suburbs who wanted to be a trader.
It's very easy for me to get on with people, but I don't necessarily have to like you or any of the people that I work with to get on with them. So I come in, I do my job, I do it to the best of my ability, and then at the end of the day, if you're going to ask me out for a drink, I'm not going to go out for a drink with you because I don't like you. But I'm not going to tell you that. There's no reason for there to be any animosity during the day. I just didn't like the people that I worked with. And so I would go in, do the work, be very, very friendly. Everybody would probably say that they thought they were my best friend. And if they have the knowledge, then I will attempt to get that knowledge through whichever way is best. And if the friendship is that method, then friendship is the method that I would use.
In 1989, Leeson asked to become a trader, but Morgan Stanley refused. He decided it was time to move. This time he chose a British bank.
It wasn't a money thing. I could have stayed at Morgan Stanley for an extra £5,000, but, you know, if they've stopped me doing something once, who's to say they're not going to do it again? And so I moved to Barings. At that stage, I probably would be happy to say that I'd never heard of Barings.
But it was a famous old bank.
So, there's no Barings in Watford.
Barings was the oldest merchant bank in Britain. It had been run by the Baring family for over 200 years. They were related to practically everyone, including Princess Diana and Tiggy Legg Burke. Working for the bank was a family tradition.
I decided to be a banker, not a very conscious decision, when I came down from Oxford in 1950 and had to earn my living and was able to go into Barings and try my hand there.
Barings Power was its name. It could raise capital on the best of terms because everybody knew that its clients were the cream of British society. Even the Queen held an account at Barings. It was a discreet, safe bank with a deep sense of superiority.
Barings had a wonderful franchise, particularly in Britain, but it was certainly smug, it was certainly arrogant. It had always been at the heart of the establishment. It had always been regarded really very special. You know, I mean, I think probably the Bank of England gave it considerable indulgence because it was Baring Brothers.
But Barings had a terrible secret in its past. Something that even today the family are reluctant to talk about. 100 years ago, the bank sent a young clerk to Argentina. It was the emerging market of its time, and the clerk persuaded Barings to invest in the building of sewers underneath Buenos Aires. Barings sent millions of pounds, hoping to sell the shares in Europe. But no one wanted them, and the bank crashed. Barings was rescued by the Bank of England. But Edward Baring, the head of the bank, was ruined. He never recovered, and his son and grandson went to live in solitude on an island off the Irish coast, accompanied only by 3 wallabies bought from London Zoo. The name of the clerk who ruined the bank was Nicholas Bower. Nick Nick Leeson went to work for Barings Securities. 6 years before, they had been a small team of stockbrokers. Now they contributed over half the profits of the bank. But behind this 80s success story, Leeson found an operation run on a shoestring.
Just a totally different environment. There was, at Morgan Stanley, everything was new. All of the equipment was new, the furniture was new. At Barings, everything is, just tacky, I suppose. I can't describe it any other way. The Futures and Options department was operating on a PC and on a software program that was written by one of the people that I worked with. It was very much on the back of Matchbox type things. And there were a lot of problems.
Leeson had joined an organisation falling apart after the boom of the 80s. He worked as a bookkeeper, trying to keep track of the bank's money. And he was good at it. Soon he was sent overseas to sort out problems. In Jakarta, he found huge sums of money owed to the bank by its clients.
It was typical Barings. Barings had paid for a lot of stock and hadn't actually received anything back from the customs. And the figure was £100 million. They just didn't have the right people in place to control it and monitor the settlements. They'd go in and do the dealing and everything okay, but then just the back office would fall apart all the time. It was typical Barings.
In Jakarta, Leeson met another clerk working for Barings, Lisa Sims.
You don't sort of wake up one day and think, I'm attracted to Nick, because you just grow on each other. Things that things that Nick could make me laugh. He is quite funny, he does make you laugh. And he is quite friendly.
How ambitious was he?
Very. You could just tell, the minute like I said, you're working with Nick, he was in control of everything and very ambitious, and he wanted to get things done.
In March 1992, Nick married Lisa. 10 days before the wedding, he had received some good news. He was to be a trader at last. Barings wanted him to go and run their futures operation in Singapore. Leeson asked Lisa to leave her job and come with him. And she agreed.
I thought, I want to spend the rest of my life with Nick. All I wanted was my little house, a car, 2.4 children, and to be happy. What everyone wants, really, just to be comfortable. And I thought that's what Nick wanted too.
Leeson was going to trade in one of the newest and most exciting of the financial markets, futures. He went to work on Simex, Singapore's international monetary exchange, in the heart of the city's financial district. Leeson's job was to buy and sell futures. These are bets on the way a market will move in the future. He traded on the Nikkei, the Japanese stock market. He was acting under orders from both the bank and its clients. If the market moved the way they had predicted, they made money. If it didn't, their losses mounted rapidly.
Nick is a really cool person on the floor, you won't believe it. And everybody is all excited and anxious, and he would be just holding the line, and then he just report the figure to the line, on the other line. And then the next moment, once he get instruction of selling or buying, he would go shouting to the boy on the floor, and they would all listen to him, and they would do it very fast, and maybe within a minute or whatever, he could have buy 500 and sell 500 lots. He's real cool, real cool.
It was hard work, there was a lot of pressure. I prefer the pressure, more than anything else. Whether it was the excitement, I can't really say.
In the summer of 1992, the market fluctuated violently. In the chaos, Leeson's team began to make serious mistakes.
Mistake was always done by very new traders, new linemen. When the customer say, sell one lot, and then she went, buy one lot. Instead of putting here, sell one lot like this, and she put like that. So instead of selling one lot, now you have to sell 11 lots.
Well, do you cover it or don't you cover it? And at the same time, the market was sometimes up 1,000 points. There were 4 or 5 days when it was going up 1,000 points in a row. So if you're out 500 contracts and you're looking at 1,000 points, you're looking at $2.5 million. It's an awful lot of money.
And they always go, boss, I make a mistake. And then Nick will go,